just a little bit of admin before we get started. Actually, before that, just thanks again for all the comments yesterday. Really brilliant. So motivational, really, really motivational, and yeah, was great. Was great reading them, and you know, made me want to do more videos. So yeah, I can't really thank you enough for just all the nice messages that were on there. So yeah, thanks very much indeed. Before I talk about, it's a left back that we've been linked with, who's I think I was going to say has come a little bit off radar, if you pardon the expression, but I think he's almost spent the majority of his career off radar until last season, and I sort of want to try and tie that in with some news that ex-West Ham United employee gave yesterday, that West Ham have called their interest in Carl Walker-Peters. Before I do that, I just want to point you in the direction. We've got another raffle. It's a mega raffle, really. A raffle to ruffle a few feathers, let's put it that way. We got a signed Jarrod Bowen shirt, but that's not the top prize. The top prize is a match-worn Kevin Nolan shirt. He wore it in a 2-0 win against Peterborough. So there's 4 prizes. And then there's a signed Di Canio armband and a signed Mark Noble armband. There's 4 prizes, 4 big prizes in this raffle. The link is in the description below. The raffle is £5 per ticket, but if you buy 2 tickets, you get the third ticket free. That's right. Closes next Wednesday at 9 p.m, basically. We've had 5 winners on our raffle so far. They've all left 5-star reviews, which means they've all got their stuff, which is good. I'm very, very happy with it. If you use the link below, it will take you to the raffle page, and as we do more of this stuff, we sort of build up, I guess, you know, sort of more of a reputation. It's like a trust pilot. Is that what it's called? Trust pilot, I think it is, isn't it? That type of thing, anyway. So yeah, subscribe when you're there as well. Then you'll be alerted when we do more raffles in the future. But yeah, give it a little look. If it's something you fancy, then yeah, there's 4 prizes up for grabs. Really, really, really good raffle. I think this is the best one so far, just because, you know, sort of 4 comparable prizes, really, aren't there? Anyway, right. So Carl Walker-Peters. Let's go to where we are with ex-West Ham United employee, who yesterday, it might have been today's update, but possibly last night's update, said that we're calling our interest in him. Now, Carl Walker-Peters has always been a player, I say always, since we were linked with him, I've often thought, well, this makes sense, because it's cheap. Well, he's free. It won't be totally free, because obviously you'll have to pay, you know, slightly higher wages, and you'll have to pay a signing-on fee. But when we're clearly not spending much money at the moment, I thought, well, actually, maybe this makes sense. And despite Southampton going down last season, I thought he showed enough in terms of his versatility. I mean, we are talking about a player that's played for England before, of course. Had a couple of caps. He played a lot of the season at left back, and he can obviously play right back, right wing back, left wing back. Well, that's sort of perfect, really, in terms of maybe what Graham Potter wants. That would allow Graham Potter to use Wan-Bissaka in a number of positions. So I think versatility is a really, really good thing. And I think at a time when we're clearly not spending much money, if we can replace Emerson for nothing, and the rumour appears to be that we would get about £8.5 million for Emerson. Don't know how true that is. It seems a little bit low, actually. But anyway, it's because Emerson's 30 years of age. He's not like he's at the end of his career. Wherever he goes, be it to Serie A or Spain or anywhere else, he's going to... I would imagine he'll do really, really well. I think he's been a really good player for West Ham. But I thought if we can probably cover off that position without spending money, it just logic suggests that we can spend some money on a striker, spend some money on a midfielder, and just spend that money elsewhere. Now, I think Carl Walker-Peters is okay. I think but he's better than okay. He's quite good. But he is sort of an average Premier League player, if you want, but with the versatility, for the reasons I've already said, which would probably benefit us and suit us. So I just thought it was an obvious and an easy one to do. We were linked to him in the summer. We basically ended up getting... Well, there were 3, weren't there? There were Walker-Peters, Maxwel, and obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think we got the right one. Well, statistics and performances and everything else would prove that to be the case. Certainly my favourite West Ham player last season. I But I thought Walker-Peters was okay. But that's about as far as it goes. But I would understand us just getting an okay player. Let's put it that way. As long as we can go and get somebody outstanding in some other positions. But the more I thought about it, and particularly since ex-West Ham United employee has revealed that actually we've called our interest. Well, first of all, that suggests there was interest in the first place, which we know. But the fact we've called it, that means, and particularly the messaging that went alongside it, which was a Graham Potter wants to look elsewhere as other targets, brought me on to another player that we were linked with. Now, his name is Aaron Martin. Well, it's actually Aaron Martin Caricol, which means it's quite a funny one to search on Google, actually, because he almost has two different searches, one for Aaron Martin and one for Aaron Caricol. He plays for Genoa in Serie A. And if you go and look at their... if you go and click on Google and you look at Serie A games, you look at Genoa games, you will look at their team and it won't say Martin on it, it will say Caricol. You go and search him, it will say Martin. I think Caricol is possibly his maiden name or something like that. But anyway, when I looked at him, he's a Spanish player. He's not really torn it up at any point during his career. And I think in many respects, he has gone a little bit under the radar. But last season in Serie A, he got 8 assists from left back. And he sort of gets labelled as a very, very creative player and an assist machine. Now, 8 assists is right up there in Serie A. Gets you on the first page. You know, when you've got the top scorers page, and then you've got the maximum assists. He's up there. He's on the first page. And I'm not talking just for fullbacks. I'm talking for assists in Serie A. It appears that he's a very, very reliable provider of opportunities for the attack. And if you look at how Graham Potter's going to be playing next season, we've got to assume there's going to be the wing-backs are going to have a lot of attacking intent. Now, that has to be the way he goes. If he can sort out that midfield, and I think he probably is going to sort out that midfield, we're certainly going to try anyway, to get more legs, to get more creativity in it, which is what it needs, then I think it stands to reason that we're going to see these wing-backs, full-backs a lot further up the pitch. I think I take quite a lot, actually, from Potter's first game, which was the FA Cup game against Aston Villa. And it wasn't so much... he hadn't had a lot of time to work with a team. If you remember, he had sort of half a training session. That was it. But there was one decision he made, which I thought was quite telling. So he switched to a 3-4-3, whatever it was, but 3 at the back with wing-backs rather than 4 at the back with full-backs. And he made a decision at right wing-back to play Crescencio Somerville. Now, just forget anything and everything else that happened in that game. Just that decision tells you that he is willing to play a more creative player at wing-back than a more defensive player. Obviously, that opportunity was taken away from him because Somerville got injured. So he then goes and plays Wan-Bissaka there, who obviously, as brilliant as a season as he had, and rightly so, in my opinion, Hammer of the Year, would be viewed as a more defensive player than a more attacking player. But also at Brighton he did it. As I understand it, he played Trossard at wing-back as well, and no one's going to claim that Trossard is a defensive player. He's not. So I think my point is Potter has shown himself more than capable to play attacking players in those roles. And whilst I don't think that Carl Walker-Peters, so it'd be so many double-barrelled names, especially if we've got Taylor Harwood-Bellis, Carl Walker-Peters, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, James Ward-Prowse. I mean, it'd be very, very interesting to stack the team up and stack the squad up with double-barrelled surnames. But whilst I think Carl Walker-Peters is not exceptional, he's okay, he would do a job. I then start to wonder, well, hold on a second, has he then decided, actually, I don't want that, I do want exceptional. I do want someone that excels at something, rather than this, all things to all men, square pegs in round holes, utility player who can play in a number of positions. I do wonder if Potter's thinking, well, you know what, I might go and get this specialist here. And I don't know. I couldn't honestly tell you if there is any serious intent to go and get this Aaron Martin Caricol. I think as an invented story, it's a funny one to make up. I think if you just want to invent stories and get some traction and get some clicks, there are probably better stories to invent than that one. He's 28, so I'm not sure he particularly ticks the box of getting the average age of the team down, of the squad down. But he doesn't appear to have an awful lot of miles on the clock. He is still 2 years younger than Emerson. And, you know, 28 is not 35. It's very, very different to, you know, some of the other conundrums the club might have in terms of giving people like Mikel Antonio a new contract, for instance. And I do wonder if that's the case. And maybe I'm just being overly optimistic here. I do wonder if we're not going for the cheap option and we are instead going for the exceptional, someone that excels at something, which is obviously the assists and the attacking, then maybe, just maybe, we're willing to... Maybe we're not constrained by the number of financial restrictions that a lot of us fear we are at the moment. I don't think he'd be massively expensive. Martin, Caricol, whatever you want to call him. I really don't. I think he would very much be, you know, one for the scouting team. Not a young, uncut diamond, so to speak. Not somebody... I think he's probably one of those players who you might look at and you might think, well, hold on a second. You look down the list of assists in Serie A last season, you think, who's this guy? So maybe you go and you do your research, and maybe it's just been that. There is we've got something in our favour, to an extent, I guess, and that is Maxwel Cornet, who went to Genoa, played under Patrick Vieira in the same team as Aaron Martin Caricol. And possibly we could use him as some sort of make weight. Although, from what Gio said in his video yesterday, Genoa don't want Maxwel Cornet. They don't want to buy him. They just want to loan him again. Yeah, I think West Ham are going to have to play a little bit more hardball on that one. But at the end of the day, these are negotiations, right? They can say that. We don't necessarily have to agree with it. We can propose something else, which is, well, hold on a second. Maybe we can come to some other sort of arrangement because we want you left back. We also do want another one of their players. Is it De Winter? I think it might be. I'm not entirely sure. We want another one of their players as well. So I don't think we're going to be able to play that part exchange card twice. If they only think Maxwel Cornet is good enough to loan, I'm quite sure they don't think he's good enough to play as part exchange in West Ham's bids for two players. But I do think they're very, very different entities. I think before West Ham bring in a central defender, I think we're probably one of them's going to have to go. I don't think necessarily that's the case because with left back, well, we've already let Aaron Cresswell go. We've already let Vladimir Soufal go. And we know Emerson's going. So I think we're going to, irrespective of what happens, we're going to go and get a left back or a left wing back or whatever you want to call them. I don't think that's the case with central defence. I think if a Gerd goes, we get a central defender. I think he will go, but if a Gerd goes, we get a central defender. Still not convinced Todibo plays next season at West Ham. Still think we'd probably accept a bid for Mavropanos as well. I think any of those things happen, I think we go and buy a new centre-back. It's conditional. I don't think there's any conditions on the left wing-back. I think we go and get one. But as I've said, look, we've got Ollie Scholes, who can play back up there, and I think he'll play a lot more next season. But we also do have Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's looked brilliant at left wing-back. Which even if we don't get Carl Walker-Peters in to be flexible with, that's fine because we already have a flexible player there. So if it actually turns out that the best deal out there is not for a left wing back, it's actually for a right wing back, I do think we're in a position to do that. You've also got the versatility of Wan-Bissaka, of course, that he can play in a back three. And I don't think it would be the most surprising thing in the world if we did get rid of Todibo and we found Aaron Wan-Bissaka starting at right wing back to start the season. Sorry, at right centre back next season. That wouldn't come as the biggest shock in the world to me. Anyway, there you go. That's me done for today. Thanks so much. Ryan left a message yesterday. He said we want another walk in the park. I will do a walk in the park. The only reason I'm not doing a walk in the park today is I had to take my son to the orthodontist this morning, and then he needed a lift, and so he's taken the dog out for a walk now. And I was going to say, well, the sun's just come out now, so we'll take the dog out for a walk. We'll do a walking around the park video, and we'll do an update on that. Obviously, we'll do another 60 seconds, either first thing tomorrow or later on today, depending on what happens in the day. Don't forget the raffle. The link for that is in the description below. And yeah, just thanks for everything last few days, really. So, just so much. I do want to say it again. Thanks to Gio for filling in. Massive thank you to Mike and Michael, for sending in those videos, which were so well received. And so just big thank you, big thank you to those guys, and just for everyone that sent messages and emails and stuff like that. It's been brilliant, and it has made a difference. I just really wanted you to know that as well. And that's it. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling now. I've been going on for 16.5 minutes. I'll catch up with you either later today or tomorrow.